Sorry about that. So here we are with 8-7 again. So here we go. We're going to keep moving through these problems. We're going to take our first and last term and multiply the coefficients. So 5 times 6 is 30. We know that they're both positive. So positive times a positive gives us a positive. And we're going to list our factors. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. We need to get to the magic number of 13 when we add or subtract them. So that's going to be 3 and 10. First terms are going to drop down. So 5x squared drops. Our third term of plus 6 drops down. And now we're going to put these in. Again, thinking about what it is what we're looking at. So we've got plus 10x plus 3x. So we can set up our factor by grouping. I just noticed that this problem is very similar to the one that we just finished on the other page, only instead of it being double positive numbers, this time they're double negative because of this center piece. So we're again going to look and see what can we take out. And in the first word, it's 5x, leaving us with x plus 2. Over here, our coefficient's going to be 3, leaving us with x plus 2. Our back binomial is the same, so that means we did factor by grouping right. And our first binomial is going to be what we have outside of the coefficient. So 5x plus 3. And the more you do this, the easier it will get. This time we're going to multiply together 3 times 20. That's going to give us a 60. We know we've got to get positive at the back, and we've got negative in the middle, so that means we're going to have 2 negative numbers going together. So what are the factors of 60? 1 and 60. 2 and 30, 3 and 20, and right now 4 and 15, and 5 and 12, and then 6 and 10. So we want to get to 17, so our magical numbers are going to be 5 and 12. Once you get faster at this and you start to hit the numbers, as soon as you see one that works, you can stop. But for now, we want to list them out so we get the visual. First term, last term are going to drop down. And we're going to take those 2 factors that we found, being negative, and put them into our problem. Who's going to go with the 3? Well, if you look at these 2 numbers, which one of these factors with 3? And that one is 12. And then we're going to put the 5 with the 20. Okay, now we have to factor by grouping. What can we take out of the first 2? 3x. What's that leave us with? X minus 4. What can we take out of here? Okay, so this is where it gets tricky because you see it's got a plus sign here. So I'm going to take out a minus 5, which leaves me with x. If I take minus 5 and divide it into 20, I'm going to have minus 4. This makes both of my pieces the same. If you would have taken out a positive 5, you would have noticed that you had minus x and a positive 4, and that wouldn't have worked, so you should have started with the other sign. Both of our binomials are the same again. And we're going to put the 2 coefficients in. We're going to try 2 more of these. And again, if you think you've already got it, you can fast forward to the next part, or you can just try it on your own and then see if you did it right. We're going to multiply 2 times 1 and get 2 here. We've got a negative here, which means that we've got a positive and a negative. Okay, so our factors are nice and easy. They're 1 and 2. Can't mess this one up too bad. So 2n squared is going to drop. Minus 1 is going to drop. Now, this one, because we've got 1 positive and 1 negative, and we need our answer to be minus 1n, we have to go back to what we talked about in 8-6. And that was if I add a positive and a negative number, what happens? And we know that when you do that, way back in 7th grade, we learned that we're going to subtract the 2 numbers and keep the sign of the larger number. And what that means for us is whatever answer we have here, that's what our bigger factor is going to be. So out of 2 and 1, who is larger? 2. So that means we're going to put minus 2 here and minus 1n here. Okay, we're going to go in and we're going to try to do factor by grouping. Okay, I'm going to take out a 2n here, and that's going to leave me with n minus 1. And for some reason, I'm blanking on this one. What can we take out of here? I would take out a minus 1, but that's going to leave me an n plus 1, and that doesn't work. Oh, because one of these is positive. Sorry, we just went over that. This is positive. So I'm going to take out positive 1, which is going to make this negative 1. And that's why we always have to stop and make sure that the two things in parentheses match. It's kind of like a check to help you factor. Now that we know that, we're going to bring these down. And we're going to take our two coefficients and put them in the parentheses. Okay, one more problem. What are we going to multiply this time? 2 and 9. We're going to get 18. We've got a negative here, which means we're going to have a positive and a negative. We're going to list our factors. 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Which one of these two combinations can get us back to a 3? Well, hopefully we're recognizing that it's 3 and 6. So our first and third term's going to drop down again. Which one's going to have a positive and which one's going to have a negative? When we're doing this, remember we subtract and keep the sign of the larger. So we want our answer to be negative, so the 6 is going to be negative. So I'm going to put the negative 6x here. No, I'm not. I'm going to put the negative 6x here, and I'm going to put the positive 3x here. Why did I not want that 6 there? Because if I put the 3 here, there's nothing you can take out of 2 and 3. So we're going to factor by grouping. What can I take out of this? Well, I can take a 2 and an x. That leaves me with x minus 3, because when I divide these out, that's what I'm left with. What can I take out of here? Well, I'm going to take out a 3, and that's going to leave me with x minus 3. That leaves me with x minus 3. They're the same. And 2x plus 3 in here. Okay, last step. Let's look at these problems. There's something that's different about these problems. Okay, we want to see what is different. And you're all going to love this one. There's your sarcasm for today from Miss Roser. Is there anything that I can take out of all of these before I even start? Oh, yeah, there's all the groans and the eye rolling. Yes, we can take out the 3. So if I take out a 3 out of all of these and I divide it out, what am I left with? Well, 3 divided by this gives me x squared. 3 goes into this, leaves me 5x. And 3 into 18 leaves me 6. Now I have a nice trinomial from 8-6 that I can just do by myself. So 3 drops down, and I'm left with 2 sets of binomials. So on the side, I'm just going to do the regular 6. Who are his factors? I'm going to list them out. I'm going to ask which one of these 2 factors are going to add up to give me 5. And that's going to be my 2 and my 3. So I'm going to have a plus 2 and a plus 3. And what gives me x squared? X and x. And if I lost you on that section, you can rewind it and watch it again, or you can go back and check my 8-6 video. Okay, let's look at the next one. What can we take out of here? Well, I can't take a 10 out because 10 doesn't go into 35. So I'll try and take a 5 out. All right, so if I divide 5 into here, I've got 2y squared. If I divide 2 into here, I've got negative 7y. I'm going to divide 5 into 30, and I'm going to get plus 6. Now, is this question like this, or is it like the ones we've been doing today? Hopefully, you just said the ones we've been doing today because the coefficient in front of the variable squared is greater than 1. So that means we have to multiply the 6 and the 2, and that's what we get to find the factors of. Also, you need to look and see it's positive here, but it's negative here. So that means what do I multiply to get positives? it's either going to be positive, positive, which won't work for this, or negative, negative. So I know I'm going to have two negative answers. 5's going to drop down. 2y squared plus 6 is going to drop down. And I'm going to list my factors. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Which one's going to get me to 7? 3 and 4. Okay, so I'm going to put my 4 up here, negative 4y. And I'm going to put my negative 3y up here. And I'm going to have to do factor by grouping. So here I'm going to take out, what can I take out of both of these? Well, I can take 2y out. What's left inside? Y minus 2. What can I take out of both of these? Well, I can take out a minus 3, which will leave me with y minus 2. If you tried to take out a positive 3 here, your answers here would be backwards and they wouldn't match, so you would have to go back into it. Now we're going to finish off factor by grouping by putting it in two sets of binomials. Y minus 3 is in the back, and then 2y minus 3 is in the front. Last one. Take a minute to try this problem on your own. See if you can do it. See how far you can get. So pause it, try it, and then hit play again and see if you got it right. Okay, so let's see how you did. What can we take out of all three pieces? Hopefully you said 2. So we're going to take 2 out of here, and what we're left with is 3x squared plus 11x minus 4. Okay, now hopefully you identify that this is greater than 1, so you know you're going to have to take the 3 and the 4 and multiply them together, which is going to give us 12, which is going to tell us what we're going to be factoring. You notice that there's a negative sign here, so in order to get a negative when we multiply, that means we've got our positive and our negative, and we're ready to take this apart. 3x squared drops down, minus 4 drops down, and we're going to list our factors. Okay, we're trying to get to an 11, and that's going to be the 1 and the 12. We want the answer to be positive, and we know when we have a positive and a negative added together, we subtract and keep the sign of the larger. So because we want the answer to be positive, that means the 12 is going to be positive. So we're going to put plus 12x minus 1x, and now we're going to try to factor by grouping. 2 drops down again with his parentheses. What can we take out of 3x squared and 12x? Well, we can take 3x out of that. That leaves me with x plus 4. Now I'm going to look here, and I've got a whole bunch of negatives, and I notice I don't have any negatives in my other one. So I'm going to take out a negative 1. If I divide both of these pieces by a negative, it turns them positive. That's our sign changer. Now they match. I'm going to bring down the 2 that's out in front, and I'm going to write my answer as a product of two binomials. 3x minus 1, my two coefficients go in the first one, and x plus 4 goes in the second. And you are now finished with today's lesson, and that means that you can start the homework. So I'm going to put this up. We're going to be doing 8-7 practice skills. And you guys are going to be completing numbers 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, is that it for today? Hang on, that might be it. You never know. I'm checking my notebook, which is sticking together. Keep your fingers crossed, you never know. Boy, if my fingers worked, this would be really scary. That's the homework. Did I do them all? I did do them all. Okay. 8, 10, 11, 13, 14. So that's 10 problems. You guys can handle that. I know it seems scary. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And remember, in order to get your passing grade, in order to get the 65, you can only miss 3. So only -3. And then in order to get, or 2. And then to get mastery, which is 80 or better, you can either miss 0, 1, or 2, To get the 65, you can only miss 3. Anything after 3 doesn't give you the 65. So if you miss 4, that means you're going to get something back from me telling you to do corrections. Remember, once you've done this with all the work, just submit it. Make sure your name and the assignment's on it, and you can send it through Remind, and I'll try to get some stuff back to you. If you get stuck on stuff, please pause and replay the videos. You can feel free to try Khan Academy. I know some of you like looking at their work as well. And you can always text me, but make sure you have watched the videos and tried some of the problems before you text me. Good luck and see you tomorrow.